Gracias. Greetings, family. Had a young lady here cleaning up the place, and they just started the timer. So, that's what was going on. Anyway, it's good to have y'all back. It's good to be back here at the little Palapa, where the fire pit is in Honduras at the resort. You know, this is where we do it twice a week, Tuesday and Thursday. So, but we got another treat for y'all. We're gonna be in Jamaica next week. So, hey, I'll chime in with y'all at some point on that Tuesday and that Thursday that we're there. Well, not Tuesday because we'll be traveling, but Thursday for sure.
Yeah, no, but we'll let them know. So, different time, different location.
Right.
Yeah.
So anyway, what I want to discuss today is communication. Oh my goodness. Communication has everything to do with how we're able to comprehend something that someone else is trying to convey. And so communication is key. And I say that because I talk to people, not a lot, but I talk to people. And I watch when I'm talking to them, how, I see them nodding their head and, like, yeah, they're in agreement. They're really comprehending what I'm saying. And yet, I know that they're really not. They're hearing, but they're not hearing. And the reason why that becomes a problem is because, when you communicate, it's something that you feel like the other party needs to know. Or you would like for them to know. It's not a need that they know. You communicate things that you want to convey to somebody so that they can have a clear understanding as to what you're trying to communicate to them. What happens within that transaction is that most of the time we don't hear what somebody is conveying to us in our communication is because we constantly talk to our own self. When you're always in your head and somebody is speaking to you and you're talking to yourself, trying to figure out how you're going to reply to whatever they're saying, even though they're not asking you a question. You have all this madness going on in your head, so it becomes difficult for you to truly comprehend what's being communicated. I see it a lot. And that's just one part of it. The other part of it is what's being communicated. When I'm communicating something that's on a higher vibrational frequency, I watch people elevate themselves on that frequency. And they, at that moment, feel like they're really understanding what I'm saying, or comprehending what I'm saying. And yet, when I see them in action, their actions show me that they haven't comprehended nothing that I'm saying. Why do I say that? When somebody communicates something to you that's of value, that they found was of value to them, and they share that with you, and you're willing to hear what they're saying, and after they communicate these things to you, and you say, yeah, man, I like that, yeah, I got that, and go right around and do the same thing that you've been doing outside of acting on what's been communicated to you, means that you really didn't comprehend what they were saying. Now, there's all forms of communication. Is that right, babe?
All forms.
We communicate sometimes. We don't say nothing to one another. We just communicate on a mind-to-mind level. Why? Because we're open to it. And we all have that ability. We have lost our ability to communicate because a lot of what we attempting to communicate, these straight lies, man. We need to get beyond the idea that we need to look good in front of everybody who we're trying to communicate with. That's a serious problem with us because we're trying to project a certain image that is not even the truth. It's an image that you want people to believe exists, but it only exists in your mind because from observation, I see what people say, then I see what they do. And 9 times out of 10, what they're saying and what they're doing is so contrary to one another. That tells me that what they're communicating from their mouth is not really coming from the essence of who they are. It's coming from who they want you to believe that they are.
I mean, well, like you said, there's all forms of communication. That's a form of communication. Actions.
Right, actions is
it's
what
a form
really
of
tells you.
communication. Yeah, it speaks without saying a word.
It speaks volumes.
Yeah.
Yet when that happens, and you can say, show the individual that, hey, you said this, but you just did this. I can tell you 9 times out of 10, they're going to have an excuse for you as to why they did that. They're going to defend the shit. No, we do. We do that. And in order for us to start moving into a place where we can have confidence within ourselves, that we can have confidence in our communication, where we can communicate clearly what we're attempting to express to somebody else, that becomes solidified in us when we act upon it. We can say a lot of things. I sit and listen to a lot of shit. Yet, the reality is I'm watching how you acting. And not in judgment. Because I want to see that what you said is something that's viable, because I see you acting in that, just like you said. That's where communication becomes challenging. And I say challenging because a lot of us like to communicate knowledge that we've heard or we think sounds cute to our ear, and we convey that knowledge, and yet we're not living any of it. I have had opportunity to talk with career women, career men, rocket scientists. Everybody acts and talks the same way. They talk what you can say as a term that we use in the community, in the hood. Stay in your lane. Hey, stay in your lane. Well, most folks' communication is in the lane that they believe that they're riding in, and the reality is it's a million lanes out there, and yet you choose just one lane to try to describe or express what you are in this world. You are tripping.
So what you're saying is, don't stay in your lane.
Don't. Hey, if there ain't no lane to stay in, it's a million lanes. And to confine yourself to one means that you are really stifling your own life. I've talked to guys that I'm a chemist by trade, so I was working at Rocketdyne. I was talking to rocket scientists. They was in there making rocket fuel, and when you have just a regular conversation with them, it's difficult. Why? Because they believe that the thing that they're doing is so important to the world that that's all that they can talk about, and everything else don't matter. In reality, what they're doing don't mean shit, just like the rest of it don't mean shit. Yeah, in their mind, they're telling as they speaking to you, they're speaking to you from a level of, yes, this is what I have accomplished, and this is what it's all about, this idea of ourselves.
Ego.
When we're communicating to truly express what you are in this world, the best way to do that is to be that. And so when you're being that, to find words to express that, it's not even necessary. Why? Because it's going to be expressed in everything that you do. Welcome. Greetings.
I mean that's like another expression we have. You know, walk the talk.
Right.
You know,
If you gonna
you
talk the talk, walk the walk.
yeah. I mean, and really, and we know this just of people we see. No matter where we encounter them in life, you know, you can feel and see, you know, authenticity. It really
It's
is.
simple as just watching folks come here. I mean, they come here because something have been communicated to them that hey, there's an alternative to you getting well.
Mhm.
The alternative from what? The alternative from mainstream medicine. What is mainstream medicine? Mainstream medicine is something that has been communicated to us all our life. And so for to step outside of that, you're stepping basically into the unknown.
Or Western
And yet,
medicine.
what's being communicated to you is something that have been being communicated from day one. These plants, these herbs have always been here. Those laboratories have not. The things that we trust in and put our, let's say, our hopes in is always something outside of us when all that we need to do is go back inside. And that's what, my whole communication, me and I just sit here, and what we're attempting to communicate to you is a simple ass thing. And what is that simple ass thing? Be yourself. Damn. Can't get no simpler than that. And yet, being ourselves becomes one of the greatest challenges. Why? Because we've been taught in every way not to be ourselves. We've been taught that being ourselves ain't shit. Especially if you got black, dark skin. It's like, oh, you part of the darkies, y'all ain't shit. And yet, how do we make these judgments? And by whose standard are we judging ourselves? Because each individual come here to serve a purpose. And in serving that purpose, you're communicating in your acts and in your words. Why? Because when you come here to serve, to do what you come here to do, you don't need nobody to give you confidence in that. It comes with you acting out of what you come here to do. That's what gives you confidence. That's why we lack it. Don't even know how to communicate to one another what we really want to say because we're worried about what people are thinking about what we say before we even say it. That is insane. Hey, communication is the key to our freedom. If we learn how to communicate one with another on a real basic level. Because we start out with lies in our mouth. Why? Because we are putting a mask up. When you no longer have the need to put up that mask, you know what happens? The lie don't even mean anything anymore. And nor does anybody else's. Why? Because it has nothing to do with us advancing ourselves.
I just want to add, in the great words of Malcolm X, you've been bamboozled. You've been hoodwinked. You've been run amok. And it's not like, I would just like to say for everybody out there, like, because we don't have to be hard on ourselves about it. We were all part of the same system. We all went to the same public schools, no matter where we were. And I'm speaking specifically to the United States. But I will also say, just from traveling and seeing and watching, how other countries operate, it really all kind of looks the same. They just have different names for it.
That's why you go on Instagram, Facebook, anything, they all on it. Everybody is part of this, what we call social media. Why is that so big right now? You know why? Because most folks don't even know how to be social when they want within each other's space. You have guys that get on their computer and talk all kind of shit to a woman. Oh, baby, blah, 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 blah. But get in a woman's face and don't know what the hell to say. I had buddies used to have books in their backpack. I'd be like, what you reading? How to be successful with talk. Nigga, you don't know. You talk to me and you telling me you don't know how to talk to a woman? Why? How is it so easy for you to have a conversation with me? You see what you see a woman as an object that I'm going to tell you what happened. at a point in men's life, they see a woman as an object of something that they can possibly have sex with. So, in that being in the space in your mind, when you approaching that woman, you don't want to do nothing to jeopardize the idea that you're going to be able to jump this girl bones. And then when you get and she's face to face and she's trying to have a conversation with you, you so damn dumb that you sitting there stuttering and muttering because the conversation that you want to have, you know you're not getting ready to speak out your mouth. Because that's going on in your head. And yet, it's right there.
I just like to say,
and that tells you, go ahead.
To all the brothers who lack finesse. Because, I mean, for every brother that don't have a line or something to say or to be able to, you know, express themselves to women, there are millions of others who do just fine talking to sisters. I mean, look at all the children we have running around here. Like, it's not a problem. People getting together.
The problem is in communication. I mean, because you know, just like I know, you see a lot of folks that come together. They communicate on this real superficial level. The guy is with the girl, say she want, he's fine, girl. He got money, he got dance, and then the guy, she don't know nothing about it. He's sitting there going, yeah, she thinks she's getting all this, but I got a trick for her. So this is the kind of shit that goes on daily. So then they wind up being together, and then she found out that this guy is a damn masochist. He like beating women. He like doing, and then, but she's here because now she's caught up. He allowed her the space to get comfortable in all of his accolades. So she like, oh, I get to go buy Fendi. I get to go do this. I get to go do that. I get to drive this Mercedes. I get to that. And then when he allowed the monster that he is to come out, all of a sudden, oh my God, girl, and then they telling their friends this shit. And yet their friends, first thing most friends gonna tell them, girl, you need to get the hell out of there. But girl, I don't know, where I'm gonna go. You see how our communication lacks? Why? We supposed to have confidence in ourselves. Confidence in yourself means what? That when you're communicating with somebody and what you feel inside, when you in touch with yourself, always let you know, hey, this ain't it. But what happens because of our own lust and our ideas about the things that we want and the things that we see that we think that they have, we compromise ourselves. We don't listen to that inner voice. It happens all the time when folks go to doctors. I mean, before a lot of guys, men and women go to doctor, they be like, I ain't going to no damn doctor. The hell with this. I don't give a shit. This pain gonna go away. And then they and then somebody comes around and be like, you better go get checked out. You don't know what that might be. That might be cancer. You might have a tumor. And they start putting these seeds in your mind. Why? Because we are so good at giving negative seeds to one another that we forget that there's a whole nother side to that coin. That we can go, hey, you know, there's herbs that can help you. There's a lot of things you can do can help. Not just herbs now. They have vibrational medicine. They have all kind of ways to cure our ailments now. Yet, the first thing we said, you need to go see the doctor. My goodness. We need to stop that whole paradigm in our mind because it's killing us. It's killing us, y'all. I don't give a damn if they ban me forever. I got to speak it like it is. We have to quit trusting other folks to heal ourselves. We are here to learn how to maintain and heal our own bodies. So in our talking about we're healers or we're this or we're that, what is your real communication when you're not in front of a camera? When you're not around the people who you feel like look up to you? What is your life like then? Because if we would live our lives every day and every moment like a camera was on us, we'd change the way we operate. Why? Because we always worrying about how people see us any goddamn way. So just imagine there's a camera watching you and you'll be mindful about your accent, how you communicating, what you're communicating, and why do you desire to communicate that? we were looking at this one thing where this chick, all she was trying to communicate was she was a hood rat nasty. Now we call them nasties. And this is something that they putting up like as if it's something glorious. Ain't nothing glorious about nobody degrading themselves. We're supposed to be about bringing, manifesting the glory of what we are in these bodies.
But you know what? Like, because if I think you're speaking on, we ain't going to name it, but we speaking on
what
I'm
you think.
Speaking okay, on. So then I would say that, people would offer, my idea of freedom or of expressing myself is my idea of that. And then yours is your idea of that. So for you to put a grade on and say, oh, that's nasty, or oh, that's wrong, or oh, that's not ladylike, or whatever.
I said we called them nasty. You called them nasty? Well, that don't sound good. What they really are, what they really are is self-degradizing.
Okay, and so hear me out. So I'm saying the voice of the person, and most likely the person that's doing it is like, hey, this is how I express myself. This is my body. I feel like shaking my ass wherever I feel like shaking my ass. Why is it a problem to you? I feel like doing it.
It's not a problem.
At a basketball game with whoever's there. I feel like doing it. I feel like doing it on the red carpet. I feel like doing it and expressing myself wherever. Why is it a problem?
It's not a problem, but in that
but
expression.
Why does it? Why listen,
it is a degradation. Why? Because in expressing yourself, what are you saying? All I have to offer you is this body. I don't have nothing else but this body to show you. See, look at my pussy. Look at my ass.
Oh, okay.
But that's all you got? Is that all you got? Because if you have something more than that, that's not what you would be displaying. What you would be showing is that you have the ability to rise above that. And that you can be respected outside of you showing your ass.
Yeah.
Because we're not about that. What we're about is our culture itself represents the mystical, the magical, the powerful. And it starts with the women.
Yeah.
And then this is what you're displaying? And this is what God is saying, yeah, I want this. Well, where are we at really on a conscious level? We can pretend all we want, but we're here for a reason, and our time here is very short.
So I just wanted to add, in the nation, they say where there are no good women, there are no good men. And the women, we form the homes, we heal the family, the household members. We teach the babies. We really usher in a new existence on the earth. And yes, the fathers are very vital. We need the sperm to fertilize the egg. If we're just talking about it on a scientific level. But once the child is here, then the mother is nurturing that child. Should be. This is the absolute should be. The mother should be feeding that child. Certain things that go with the feminine aspect of motherhood. So yes, there is. I believe I'm a mother of 5 young ladies, and I believe and I know that they look at us, and the way that they move out into this world is really a mirror reflection of how we move out into this world. And of course, every now and then you'll have one that goes off and doesn't look anything like it. But for the most part, there'll be a mirror image. And same with fathers and sons. There'll be a mirror image of what they see. So, I'm not saying that. I mean, I'm offering the conversation because I know and I hear it all the time. Well, I do what I want to do. And yes, and for all intents and purposes, yes, you can do what you want to do.
Well, that's not what they want to do.
No. But is that the best thing to do? Like, we have to, sometimes we got to sit ourselves down and question our motives and ask ourselves why and what is this about? And it's not about conforming to society. It really is about, the whole aspect of who you are, femininity, and what that represents, you as a woman, and masculinity, and what that represents to you guys as a man. So, I just wanted to say, really it always is introspective, right? People got to do a self-check. People got to pull up on themselves. And it's not about, like, what everybody else is saying. And we can take healthy feedback, right? But you got to pull up on yourself because it's things you trying to hide from yourself and everyone else. Pull up on yourself and have some serious and honest conversation and dialogue with yourself. And then you'll find that when you're moving out in this space, particularly as a woman, and particularly as a woman who has a platform, and little girls are looking at and following, to be able to show, the best of what we are. We are a whole bunch of things, but we should always strive to represent the best of what we are.
I agree. Women are powerful. Hey, it's because of women that we have the ability to elevate consciousness right on up out of this earth realm. Because of women. Yet, women don't even know that. And because they have that great responsibility, they have the greatest responsibility, they always falling right in the face of it. Why? Because they accept the lie instead of seeking out what it is really, what womanhood really represents for them. Not for what society say womanhood is. What do womanhood represent for them? Because if it's not representing the power that women are, and y'all are the power, y'all are the life givers, y'all give everything to this earth. Y'all are just like the earth itself. That's why she feeds the power into you guys. Men are only here to give direction. We good at giving direction. But the power comes from the woman. Women generate the power that we need in this earth to change things. And yet, I don't see no power being generated from most women. What I see is them trying to emulate white people. And I'm going to say straight up, a lot of the sisters I see with all these eyelashes, straight hair, all this bullshit, what they're appeasing is not themselves. What they're appeasing is what they think men want, because that's the image that's been thrown in our face constantly. When the image of beauty is not one that's external, it's internal. We have to allow that inner beauty to come out and shine. And what we become then? Women become women of power, women of knowledge, women of substance. That's the only kind of women that I want to be around. That's why I'm only around this one here.
You know what? When you say that, I think about Winnie Mandela, right? Like, when we think about Winnie Mandela, if we were to think of her as like a sex object or something, like, we really wouldn't, right? And not saying that she wasn't a woman, and, and she was married to a man. So, like, so those aspects are there. But when I think about Winnie, is so far beyond her.
Booty shaking.
Exactly. It's like the majesty of who she was, what she produced in Nelson Mandela's children, what she produced in the country around and the world around Nelson when
what
he was
she
locked
produced
up.
in Nelson Mandela himself.
I mean, I'm saying that we don't have to look at her and be like, oh, can she twerk? Or, oh, can she, you know what I mean? Like, we don't have to, because what she's had to offer was so far beyond. And she's not the only sister that I can name. I mean, when we think about Harriet Tubman, they think about the photo of Harriet, it's anything but a sexual, like, I'm Harriet now. But Harriet still had husbands. Harriet still had children. So there's still that aspect to them. But the greatness of who they are is so far beyond just sexuality. Sexuality is part of it.
That's what communication is.
It's not all of it.
That's what I say. Communication is on so many different levels. Women communicate without saying the word, how they present themselves into this world. You ain't got to say shit. All you got to do is show up. And men going to look at you and go, oh, yeah, that's that. Oh, yeah, and she about this. Oh, yeah, and men start categorizing. Why? Because they looking. Men are predators.
I would say right now, women are about equal with men in that aspect. They doing the same thing. They looking.
Yeah.
They see.
They women.
Know. Oh, okay. This is that. Yes. No. Like, women are doing the same.
We got to
thing
change
right
how we view the world in ourselves and how we move in this world. it's been so long that we've been caught up in just the material, and we have to understand that there's another part of us that is trying to communicate not only to the world but to us that, hey, allow me life. We have put our true self in the back seat of the car, and we allow our idea of ourselves to drive us around willy-nilly. And the spirit is constantly trying to say, hey man, I got the map, I know the direction, let me drive. That is the last thing in our whole entire existence that we want to do. And most folks go to their grave with their true self in the back seat. So when you crash, first thing you doing, oh God, help me. The one that was there to help you from the very beginning was yourself. And you didn't listen. We better wake up. Ain't nothing outside of you. You better check inside of you and allow that to merge with what's outside of you, and then you'll see a different you in a different world around you. It all comes from how we communicate to one another and how we allow communication coming from our own self. It's nothing detrimental about you allowing yourself to guide you. What happens is that we get so confused because we talk so much to ourselves in our own head. We be like, well, what it sound like when the spirit talk to me? Well, damn it, it's your spirit. You better figure that shit out. And one way to figure it out is to stop talking to yourself excessively. We constantly talk to ourselves.
But still, it sounds like you.
That don't matter what it sounds like.
It sounds like what you normally hearing. That's what it sounds like. And that's what
lets you know it's not your true self. Because your true self always tells you shit that's totally outside of what you think you know. And that's the shit that we reject immediately. Like, I ain't doing that. It ain't even a split second go by before we reject what our true self be saying to us in favor of what our mind is telling us. And what is that mind that's telling us that? That damn ego that we have, that idea, that first attention that we so groom. We groom the hell out of our first attention, and that's everything to us. Our second attention, which is our energy body, we don't give it no consciousness whatsoever. We don't even give it consciousness when they're supposed to have it in our dream life. We don't even give it to it. We like, nope, you ain't getting it now either.
So how do we give attention to our energy body? How can we get this balance over? And our energy body which is good for us, is helping us, running us more than our humanistic aspects.
I'm gonna say this, and being here at USHA is a perfect time to do that, because you have time to sit with yourself and just not let the thoughts is gonna be in your head because you've been talking to yourself for so long. Trust me, they're gonna be there. But the key to getting closer to yourself is allowing those thoughts to just run until they just run out. Because when you sit down, your purpose should be, hey, I'm going to connect more with who I am. I want to know more about who I am. You speaking these words out your mouth, and they come back here, see? And when they come back into your own ear, guess who's here? The passenger you put in the back seat. So the spirit is going to start creating circumstances for you to hear and act. Because it's not just about you hearing, it's about you hearing and acting. Because as we hear and act, then the spirit knows, hey, I'm getting the driver's seat. And when you allow the spirit to take the driver's seat, trust me, when I tell you this, your life becomes a cruise. Of course, it's going to be challenges, but it becomes a cruise. Why? Because you don't have to take no more responsibility for everything you do, everything you say, because you have allowed your true self to take over.
And so, which is a wonderful segue. What I was going to say, I was thinking about the song from the Dramatics, Ocean of Thoughts and Dreams. So there's an ocean of thoughts. It's so many thoughts out there. Like we entertain a bunch of thoughts. It's the thoughts that you grab onto, that you take out of that ocean and say, hey, I'm going to focus on this. Like, I'm going to pull this thought out of here, and I'm going to dissect it. I'm going to look at it. I'm going to call people up and talk about it. I had this thought. And then you start acting on it and putting energy behind it. And this thought that you could have, like the rest of the thoughts in the ocean, Like the thoughts that said, hey, today is a good day, but you let that pass on by. Because now I'm going to focus on, oh, my boss got me messed up.
Right.
She say something today, I'm cussing her ass.
That's a perfect example. Riding on the ocean of thoughts.
Take that thought and, oh, but she said yesterday this. So today, I'm going to ride this thought out. And I'm going to bring that thought from yesterday into today. While an ocean of thoughts were going through and passing by. But those weren't ones you chose to entertain. It's these certain ones that pertain to the situation that you see, that you created before yourself. Because we all create our own situations. Even with the outside things that happen from other people. We create these things because those oceans of thoughts is where we chose to ride that wave. So, I like to say, and that's as like as much of imagery as I can give with it. So when there's a thought that comes in and it's not so good, and this is again going back to pulling up on yourself. So when the thought isn't so good, then you can, let that ride on by. Let that go out with the waves, flow out with the tide. And keep those thoughts near that are good.
Exactly.
Make you feel good.
Just like the thought of hunger. That's a thought. People don't think hunger is a thought. It is a thought. You let that... When you fasting, that thought disappears. Why? Because your body, you already told your body you're not eating.
You ain't eating.
So the thought leaves.
Yeah.
And somewhere down the line, the thought is going to come back because the thought been part of your whole life. So then when they come back, be like, hey, man, I'm hungry now. I know you say you're going to... And they'll talk to you, too. I know you say you're going to fast till, 5 more days. But come on, man, we can go and eat something and then start all over again. All that shit coming to your head. Why? Because those thoughts are what we think is us. Because we have allowed them first place for so long. When we don't allow that still small voice that we call the spirit to direct us at all times and in every moment.
And that is, so what that makes me think of is Richard Pryor with the crack pipe talking to him like, hey, Rich, come on and pick me up.
Right.
Everything
pick me up.
is
You know you want to pick me up.
Like, you have to know when, is your body talking to you, body memory, muscle memory, cell memory, because we train our bodies to do a certain thing. Now we coming in, we disrupting it.
Right.
It's like, oh, no.
We're disrupting
and
the
your
show.
body starts to talk to you.
I'm going to say this.
Pull up on yourself.
That's true. I'm going to say this. I mean, we are in these bodies. We've been catering to these bodies for a long time. And that's why I know when people talk about, oh, yeah, I just discovered spirituality. They ain't discovered a damn thing. Because what happens is that your body is going to tell you straight out its part in this whole thing. And you created this monster. It ain't just going to lie down because you wanted to. No, you have made this physical body the reality of who you are. So now you have to work at disseminating. In most religions, they say dying. They tell you got to die to yourself. What self you got to die to? That imaginary self that you've been creating since the time you could remember yourself. You've been creating this image of yourself. That image of you has to die. And that's the biggest crux of all of it. And that's where everybody fails because we don't want to die. That entails us not having things the way we think they should be. When we don't even really know because what we think that we think has been planted in our heads. And that's how it confuses everybody. People run around lost. Why? Because they've been given the wrong map. If the map that you've been given don't lead to the destination where you are trying to get to, if the map that you've been given leading you outside of yourself, then you forever lost because the map that you need is the one that guides you back into yourself.
How you know it's leading you outside yourself?
Because you're always looking outside of yourself for whatever it is that you're looking for. That map is always directing you out. You need to get this, or you need to get that, or you need to go here, or you need to be there.
You need to talk to this person. You need to go to this place.
When in reality, your true self ain't never going to say. It's going to say you need to sit down and listen to what your heart has got to say. Because it speaks to us through our inner self. Our heart speaks to our ear. our body is one unit. Yet the Spirit used the whole body to communicate to us. And we have to start allowing that communication to be was prominent in our lives. You know, I see what's going on in the world. I see that, you know, Israel at war with Palestine. That is the most insane thing to me. Where you have people who declare war on other people and start killing kids and women. And we call that war. And that's acceptable to us. And I see people, you know, parading about it. Yeah, they deserve it. No, nobody. Hey, do you deserve it? We always got to stop. That's what I like when she say to check ourselves. Because when you don't check yourself, then you find yourself being a part of something that have nothing to do with you. And yet you so a part of it that you take sides in it and put some kind of emotional energy behind it. That is totally insane, okay?
And want to see people dead, children dead, women dead.
Exactly. When you're trying to come to grips with who you are and what you are in this world, the last thing you need to be trying to do is
murder.
Put energy out there into something that has nothing to do with you elevating yourself. Because it's about, we only have so much energy. I don't know, we think we have this well tap that we can tap into, whereas I always know it's not like that. We have a certain amount of energy, and that energy that we have to learn how to use it properly. To do what? To sustain ourselves, to keep ourselves healthy, to keep our mind fluid, to keep our bodies in motion, to keep our inner man strong. When we start delving into really knowing who and what we are, you find out that we are magical beings that have so much potential, it is limitless. So how did we limit ourselves to just what we're doing now? How did we get so limited? How? Ask yourself, how did I get limited? Because if we're on the journey of discovery, limitations is not part of that discovery. And what we're trying to discover is right here. You don't have to go out looking nowhere. It's right here within you. Discover yourself, man. Discover your potential. Learn how to heal yourself. Learn how to feed yourself. Learn how to exist for you. Because when you do it for yourself, it's easy to do it for others.
So, I like to add just, for people to be open to listening to themselves. Like, first, trusting yourself, really understanding who you are. Again, pull up on yourself. This is what makes me angry. This is how I thrive. These are my strengths. These are my weaknesses. I should work on this. Just, learn yourself, and so we say stalking, like stalk yourself. And then so many situations we don't become victim of because we're in the captain seat. We're navigating. We made this happen. We wanted this to happen. We don't have to just, ride by on life and see what happens and what's going to fall up on us. We can be intentional about it and create all kinds of things in our life.
And that's what we do. I mean, our life is an example of that. We just let the Spirit guide us where we want to go, and we wind up there and enjoying ourselves.
So and I like to say, like, and what it looks like is indoctrination from our parents. Our mothers help indoctrinate us. Our dads, our grandparents. Just from little things. I say, like, with the Pledge of Allegiance to the flag. Like, it's a bunch of little things that just started that we were indoctrinated. All of the holidays, religion, things that tend to separate. Political parties. You live in a certain town, what side of town you live on, east side, west side, like, it's so many,
unimportant things that we pursue when we forget the greatest pursuit is you discovering you.
Over sports teams, like, let your father be a Cowboys fan, where the basement is Cowboys. Everything is blue and gray. And then you come down, no, I like Washington. And it's a problem in the house. So, like, it's so many things that
separate.
COVID came along. You saw again how, separation was, yet on the table.
Yes.
Vaccinators, the non-vax.
I mean, we would see people talking to one another from here. They going to visit their friend, and their friend way over there, and they like, yeah, well, I got to stay this far apart. Why? Because they said you could be contagious, and I could be contagious too, because they said. What?
So
I mean, that was a test. You guys don't understand how successful that test was. It tested the whole world, and you know what? They shut the whole thing down. Everybody conformed. Everybody
didn't conform, but a lot did.
Yeah, everybody conformed.
But a lot did. And my point is that whether it's that or, your zip code, or again, like I said, the sports team, or like whatever it is, people find a way, to be divisive, and these are not, and my point is of it all is that these are really not our thoughts. This is stuff that was given to us and passed down based on where we were damn born. If you were born in Saudi Arabia or something, you most likely Muslim. I don't give a darn like what you're like. If you were born over there, you were most likely Muslim. If you were born over in certain place, you were most likely Catholic. Right?
Right, like
and so this has nothing to
Mexico,
do with
Brazil,
how we really feel. It has everything to do with, again, our parents and geographical location. And that's what I mean about pulling up on yourself. Like, what really speaks to your heart? And if religion is it, then what religion? You know?
Well, we got just a few minutes left. We're going to continue this conversation. If you guys have questions, if you want me to discuss something in the topic that we've been discussing, by all means, DM
Put
me.
it down in the comments.
You have a question, bro?
Me?
Or anything you like to add.
Sure. Okay. I think as indigenous people, sometimes we speak in the absolute, understanding that we put it on everyone, but everyone is not doing it. Communication, great topic. I believe there needs to be empathy in communication because we are all not at the same place where you are now. Understanding, twerking, dancing, those are things that we need to understand. Those are products of what have happened to us from the past. We all want to blame people who look like us, but never say what the real issue is, which is white supremacy and patriarchy and things that led us to these things that we are on. So blaming a Sexy Red, a Lotto, or something like that for what they do, our communication should be empathetic. We should understand that all women do not do that. If women are the true source, the natural bringers, the top tier, communication also needs to be enlightenment. Everyone did not get the same lessons that everyone else got. And so, coming from eras of your era, I'm 43, just turned 43 yesterday. Our outlook on life can be different. Understanding that, once again, speaking in the absolute, all women are not doing things that are what you want to call risque.
Right.
And things that continue to make us, or indigenous people, or people, brown and black, POC people, are literally the things that we have been taught, things that we have been taken from, things that that have been indoctrinated into us, as you said, with the United States, the anthems and everything like that. Those are things that we need to see. How do we understand to get people back into the forefront? Change does not come unless it is enlightenment or death. Some people have to die out of this thing, just like I see people, older people who look like me, who have marched for my freedom but can't let fried chicken go.
Right.
They can't let carbohydrates go. That is not a thing to demean them on. That is a hard substance to let go. People who love black people but still are cocaine addicts.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Those are things that we have to understand empathy with, because our people need the most empathy. As Francis Welling said, it is not for us to demean those, but to work with those who have So dealing with a lotto or a killer, like Malcolm X or Killer Mike says, we must work with our drug dealers. We must work with the killers, because those are the people who can get places that we cannot, who have the effort to do what we cannot. Sitting and talking about things and not communicating with those who can get things done is just a fallacy. It's just a dream. So with communication is also a level tiered thing. Just like you say, talking with rocket scientists. Rocket scientists, yes, they believe in their mathematics. They believe in how this trajectory will work. But can you explain that to somebody who doesn't understand anything about rocket science? Can you understand how there's more to life than rocket science? And there's more to life than just coming and saying, this is how it needs to be, when we have not had the true frame of reference of the person who you're talking about. Your frame of reference of what you talked about. Your era of how boycotting and marching and things, and we are thankful for that. But in the year 2023, those efforts sometimes do not work. And we have to understand that everything, if a woman is the true nature of our being, we must love her and enlighten her on how things should be, not demean her and say, because twerking is not a bad thing.
It's not.
Twerking is something that happens in villages that had the strongest warrior. They twerk for him. We have to understand how these things work.
Everything has its place.
Everything has its place, but we cannot come off as white patriarchy and demean everything that happens in our community, because it is our community. Because if we demean it and they demean it, who are we to say that our women will not go to what they think is right? If my woman has an issue with something, it is for me to stand by her and show her. Now, everybody's not going to learn. Everybody is on their own path. Everybody is not conscious. Everybody's not going to be things like that. But it's not for us to demean or to hate or to separate, because everyone has a purpose that can help us as a people and our purpose to survive.
Thank you, bro.
Yeah, that was cool. I have to say this because what you were saying was prompting a lot in me. And in your saying, like, there isn't an absolute, like, you were giving absolutes. Like, there's not an absolute, but we need this. We need empathy. We need that, which is speaking in terms of absolute. And I say, there's no blanket response or cookie cutter solution for none of it, because we're all different and we all respond to different things. Like you said, someone may hear, someone may not. But we have to, I believe, get past a place where we cannot have correction. Like where we cannot say, hey, and pull up on someone and say, and that's why I was careful about what I said, period, and didn't name any names and whatever. Because, sometimes, we are not above reproach. And we all can be pulled up on and say, hey, sis, like, da-da-da. Now, how you do it, if we're going to go and, no, that isn't the way. But, or I don't believe that's the most effective way. Because here and still, it is a way, right? So, and some of us, and I think about Snoop, when Snoop had his football league and the coach was cussing those little boys out. And people were writing in and they were like, oh my God, the coach is abusive and this and that. And the coach was like, listen, you don't know where these boys are from. You don't understand how to, I can't talk to them like that and get them to respond. Of course, this is a coach-player situation, blah, blah, blah. But my point is that it didn't have the political correctness look that we would all love to see when we see little boys getting coached. But these little boys who are the product of their environment, and all of us, right, where they were picked to come play. And then so there was language that we all may not agree with. And there was a little, harshness in the correction sometimes that we all may not agree with. But yet and still, that was that coach's way. And, and because we can always invite the bystanders, and that, you know, who've never done anything to help or tried anything and don't have anything to say. But when you've been doing this and you see how we are, because I am that sister I'm talking about. You see how we are and the things we do, then yeah, sometimes it's okay to, you know, pull up on them. You know, like we pull up on ourselves and sister, like, yeah, you can do it. And that's what I was saying. You have the right to do all of these things. I don't know. Is it the best thing to do? Is it the right time and place? And these are just questions we should ask ourselves before we execute all ideas.
Like they're
Hey, family. Appreciate y'all. Hey, y'all see it's got real deep just now.
It got a little. It got
open. Because, you
yeah,
know,
that's good,
again,
though.
we hear about communicating, and I hope what was being communicated here today with you guys have given you some level of understanding or some level of enlightenment or encouragement, whatever you can take out of it. Take out of it. But whatever it is, look, we're trying to communicate the communication.
The best of
We
what
want
we
to
know.
communicate the ability to be limitless.
Yeah.
We are limitless. We don't have to
Find
limit
your
ourselves
square.
on anything.
Yeah.
It's wide open. We in a new frontier. Let's exploit it in a way that's going to be beneficial to everybody. And with that being said, hey, see y'all Thursday. Peace.
Peace, family.
Thank you.